Hey guys, this is my honest review for Black Panther, and you may be thinking, yeah, like we need another review of Black Panther. Everyone in the world is talking about it, and they say that it is great, and they are right, and you are right. So this review is going to be more for parents of kids. You know, it's PG-13, so if your children are younger than 13, you may be wondering, is it appropriate for them? That's what I'm going to focus on in this review. But first, as always, I'm going to kind of let you know where my mind was when I saw the movie. It was a morning screening, so I had had coffee, 2 giant cups of coffee. Actually, I was quite caffeinated. And my mood was super excited, but I was trying to play it cool, and I was trying to maintain my expectations because if I'm being honest, they were sky high. I don't know if I was actually able to manage my expectations, but I can tell you that the movie more than lived up to the hype. From the very first frame, it tells a complicated story in an understandable and powerful way. My 9-year-old might not grasp everything, but I think my 12-year-old could. Chadwick Boseman is the ideal superhero. He's physically strong and emotionally thoughtful. He's proud, but has humility. He's dedicated to justice, but he's willing to see both sides of an issue. And as King of Wakanda, his father tells him this great line. He says, "It's hard for a good man to be king," which to me is a really teachable moment for a kid. Also, the women in the movie are great role models for young girls and boys, really. They are fierce warriors who can both love and fight to protect the men around them. Lupita Nyong'o is a bona fide goddess. Another great thing for kids is the relationship between King T'Challa and his sister, because it's real but also aspirational, right? They are constantly giving each other a hard time, but ultimately they love each other and trust each other and have each other's back in a way that every sibling should hope to have. There are also some deeper life lessons to take away from this film, which will of course mean different things to different people, but specifically there's this theme of don't let your father's mistakes define who you are. That can definitely lead to a bigger conversation where kids can reflect on becoming their own people, making their own choices, and finding strength in their own minds. Also, the very final line that is delivered by Michael B. Jordan's villain in the movie should resonate with everyone who lives in America, regardless of their age. Okay, so now the downsides for younger kids seeing it. Most of the violence in the movie is sort of comic book-ish, right? Like most of the Marvel films where there's not really blood and it doesn't totally seem real. But in Black Panther, there are 2 specific challenge scenes where it's hand-to-hand combat, and they're pretty brutal, pretty intense. A lot of fists to the faces, some stabbing that's going on. It might be a bit much for a kid under the age of 10. And again, some of the themes and references will be over younger kids' heads, but I don't think that that detracts from the experience. Really, my only complaints about Black Panther for kids or adults are the obligatory cameo by Stan Lee, which usually I love, but in this movie it just completely takes you out of the moment. And I will say that some of the CGI looks a little cheesy relative to the rest of the movie, especially where one particular animal is concerned. But that is just a small fraction of the CGI in this movie. Overall, my honest review for Black Panther in terms of seeing it with your kids is yes, yes, and yes. It is just a terrific movie and wouldn't surprise me if it's the biggest Marvel movie ever, and it would deserve those accolades. I think that it's okay for kids age 10 and up, but of course, you know your children better than anyone, so maybe you go see it first yourself and then take them back to see it. I will also have one big recommendation, which is, as always, stay through to the end of the credits because there are 2 extra scenes in the end of Black Panther. I hope you enjoy it.